All right, good morning, everyone. We have a very small group today, which I didn't anticipate until I looked at the calendar and realized we have a holiday coming, but we have a couple more people that are going to be jumping on. And this is a pretty important session, so I appreciate everybody that is here today. We have several folks that are either going to talk about how they've identified volunteers in a program or facilitate activities in breakout rooms. So Megan's on, Charles is on, Kayla's on, Pam is on. So I appreciate all y'all for helping and in today's session. So we're talking about volunteer identification today. So this is, as we know, the first piece of the ISOTURE model that we're going to talk about. We're going to do activities within each of these sessions, and today's activity is going to be on creating needs-based volunteer position descriptions. So this year's Lunch and Learn is going to be the first Thursday of each month. We're going to incorporate some discussion, some activities, and reflection. We'll also have within that reflection and evaluation, those specific questions that kind of help you put together your volunteer mobilization plan. And so you'll want to complete that activity at the end, so it'll automatically give you a certificate. And if you want to conclude that in your portfolio, that's wonderful. But allowing you to have that completion certificate after you complete your reflection activity. So today's topic, like I said, ISOTURE, the volunteer identification. As we talked about before in various Lunch and Learn sessions, that is the where we going through that process of identifying the people in our community have those desired leadership competencies or those skills that we need to complete a specific task within our program, or a specific project that we're overseeing. So today we're specifically going to look at the needs that exist in our organization. What are our future goals for our organization? And then based on those, we're going to develop these needs-based position descriptions. But before we move on, I wanted to do a quick leader identification shout out. So I've been, as you all know, I like to go through the social media and just see what other parish programs are doing. And I noticed recently that Pam's had a lot of unique individuals in her community that have been leading programs or just coming in guest speaker roles. She also posted the other day about involving stakeholders in evaluation. So I was just going to give her a few minutes to just talk about how she's identified these individuals in her community to help lead her program and grow her program. So Pam, I'm going to give it to you.
Okay, hey everyone. So the first thing that I think about when identifying a volunteer, first of all, I like to get to know my volunteers and to know their special interests and what they're interested in and what their expertise is in. And if you'll look at the slide, the guy holding the bee is Mr. Johnny Adams, and he is the Natchitoches Parish expert on beekeeping. And I like to bring him to club meetings the month before the honeybee essays are due. I always tell him what the theme is in advance, and he just gives a little mini lesson, you know, around the theme of the essay. He's super. He comes to the farmers markets, and this is what he loves to do. He's retired, so he has a lot of time on his hands, and beekeeping is his life. I think he's like a 5th generation beekeeper. But this is what he loves. Anytime I call Mr. Johnny, he's all about coming to educate our youth about bees because that's his passion. In the middle is a young lady that is the director of the dialysis center. And in the photo, she's actually educating our junior leaders about the needs of dialysis patients, because one of our service projects is to make dialysis care kits for dialysis patients. So before we do that, I like for her to come and express the needs and why we're doing this and how it helps the patients. And the kids are just really receptive to this, and it just makes the purpose more meaningful, because instead of just saying we're making dialysis care kits, end of story, we tell them, you know, why, how it affects the patients and that type of thing. And a lot of times she brings thank you notes from the patients, and we read those in the meeting, and it's just a great way to introduce this service. In the back, these two ladies are 4-H alumni who also help with our junior leaders, and they provide activities and games and icebreakers and just whatever we need, and they're just very supportive of the program, and they come to every meeting, and the kids love them because they know it's always going to be something fun with Miss Kelly and Miss Bridget. And these ladies just like to give back because they know what 4-H did for them when they were a youth. So that's the way, you know, that I use those volunteers in the slide. But first of all, I just try to get to know my volunteers and find out what they like and what they like to do, and then find a job or an opportunity for that particular volunteer. If I'm needing Achievement Day judges or whatever, I try to think of, or for the talent show, I try to think of people who have an interest in talent. Instead of just bringing somebody off the street that could care less, I really just try to fit the need with that particular volunteer. Any questions? It's really just simple, and it'll make your life much easier if you can, you know, from the beginning start choosing and recruiting your volunteers based on your need. It'll make your life much easier. Okay, Megan.
Yeah, so no questions yet, but I think it's fascinating how you're able to kind of assess the strengths of people. And then, I mean, the collaboration piece is pretty critical too. So like having to develop these personal relationships with individuals in your community, being well connected in all of these organizations where you can find those individuals with the, you know, the strengths, the leadership qualities that you need. And so I just think it's it was also just a great way to kind of kick off this whole session of, you know, assessing our needs and then develop these vital position descriptions. So thank you, Pam, for sharing your knowledge.
You're welcome. Again, if you make the effort in the beginning, it does take more effort, but in the end, you're going to reap the reward of getting those volunteers that are committed and are willing to come back, because if they're enjoying what they're doing and are doing something that they're interested in, then it's just gonna, you know, it's a win for everyone.
I appreciate you sharing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so what we're going to do next, we're going to start assessing program needs. So when we start generating volunteers or mobilizing volunteers for a program, it is critical that we start with that needs assessment. So where are we going with our programs? What potential needs exist within our programs? Various questions that you want to ask. You want to do these individually, but today we're going to do them in a group session because it's important to just go through that activity to know how to understand how to implement a needs assessment. So in the chat, if you regularly perform a needs assessment of your program, let us know that you do it either formally or informally. So within that needs assessment, what are the overarching goals, all right? What are those ideas we have to kind of grow our programs? What are those problems or challenges that we're experiencing? I know that all of us currently right now are experiencing several challenges, some of them unique to our parish program, some of them statewide. What are those areas that we're looking to expand? What are those ones that are underutilized over and over again? And then those specific skills and then those resources that we need to fulfill our program's goals. And remember, people are resources too. Resources are things, resources are money, and resources are people that come with those diverse expertise and skills that we need to reach our program goals. So in developing leader position descriptions, that critical piece first is that needs assessment. So if we're, going out in the community, sometimes we don't know what need exists, or we're trying to identifying leaders. It is really, really essential that we know where we're going with our programs and those critical gaps that exist. So position descriptions should include, and many of us do this, some of us maybe this is the first time we've done it. So if you also regularly develop position descriptions for your program, let us know in the chat. We want to know who's doing this and doing this well. Within those position descriptions, we should have that title, description of duties, right? Length of the obligation, so how much time that leader is going to have to allocate to that 4-H volunteer leader role. The benefits of the position is something that we don't always think about including, but they are providing an essential service to our organization. So how do they benefit? And it is okay to put, having those lasting relationships with youth, allowing them to grow their essential leadership skills. That is clearly a benefit. The needed skills, any certifications, licensings, if they're going to have to drive, that needs to be included because not everybody can drive, or lift 50 pounds. So if lifting is a part of that critical role, you need to include that. Education and training, and then how additional training will be provided. So if they lack all of the skills, but they potentially could gain some through some training that you can provide, you can clearly outline that as well. And then the supervisor, who's that direct contact, the individual that they're going to have that relationship with throughout their role. And easy to forget is the quickest way to express interest in that role. So how do they reach you as soon as they're interested? Because as you know, the length of time between when a volunteer wants to serve and when they get a response is also clearly important when it comes to retention. So if there's a massive gap in the time that they express interest and you respond to them, oftentimes they might move on into other program or another role. So essential to developing these position descriptions, identifying volunteers in our community, doing that needs assessment. All right, so we are going to spend the majority of today doing a collaborative activity. We have several agents that are going to be helping us facilitate some activities. We have folders created where you can go through these needs assessment, collaborate on these position descriptions. And so that's a 3-part activity, 32 minutes. So what we're hoping is that when you guys get into these rooms, talking about the specific needs that exist in your program, identifying some common themes, and then collaborating on a volunteer position description. Now, if you do this activity often, then you can certainly assist with in various ways in these activities. But if you don't, this will be a great way to learn how to go through that process of identifying needs and then generating those descriptions. So I've got Charles, I've got Kayla, I've got Megan. What we're going to do now is we're going to break out into rooms. I've already had those pre-assigned. I'm going to share a link real quick in the chat, and you'll see the facilitators have their guides that they're going to work through and share their screen with you, and hopefully everybody will contribute. So give me a second to do that, and then I will make an announcement in the breakout rooms with that link as well. So give me one moment, and I'm going to start the rooms. Everybody ready? Okay. Ready or not?
Hello. Is everyone back?
I think almost everyone's back. Yeah, they're all closed. They're all here. Great. Kayla, you're on mute. I don't know if you're trying to talk. Awesome. Okay, I guess we can start our reflection. So talking about what we came up with in our rooms. I know some people maybe didn't finish everything. Some people went like speed at lightning, or I guess is lightning fast, whatever. But I was looking through and they got done everything. We were ready to come back. So different pace, that's okay. But who wants to lead first? And then if they want me to share a screen with what their group created, I can. But if they want to, just let me know.
I'll have to share ours. I couldn't get the link to work, so it's on my computer.
Okay, great. I'll unshare.
I'm not really sure who's going to talk because we didn't talk about that part, but I'm hoping somebody will jump right in.
You want to start, Megan? You got a quiet group. They were
I was planning on it, but I went to my phone and I'm having a hard time seeing the wording.
Okay, then
Okay,
give them like a summary, and I'll do the long part if that's good with you, Paige.
Okay, I'm trying to read. I'm trying to read the page. Okay. So, what are some dreams, goals, ideas that you have for your 4-H program? We're just reading it. Of course, we would all want more participation. COVID has had a big impact on all our 4-H programs. More active clubs and more involvement on all levels. Add back more workshops and clinics to keep our youth busy and increase enrollment. I know my enrollment has dropped tremendously this year. And increase enrollment with our youth volunteers and junior leaders, and have more impactful service learning projects. Some of the problems is like everybody else, we're unable to find facilities. I know me, I have not been able to really use any facilities to have any type of meetings or workshops. Unable to have traditional club meetings, volunteer motivation struggles. A lot of people are using kind of COVID, I think, as an excuse to not really help out as much, and the lack of motivation in our youth. I'm trying to read. What are currently doing your 4-H program? Expand volunteer outreach trainings and inclusion. Junior leaders have younger youth involved and increase participation to fill leadership roles. I'm losing a lot of junior leaders, and I think a lot of people are, and we need to replace them. Get back into the schools for club meetings instead of all virtual. And youth voice and leadership increase through HYPE program and collaborative with FCS. One area of our 4-H program that is underutilized, understaffed is our shooting sports program, Clover Buds, and support for You're Outstanding to do everything volunteers. We have some volunteers that are we ask a little too much. We feel like we need to have more volunteers. And specific skills. Well, hold on, wait, where are we at right now? Something just popped up on my phone. I'm sorry, y'all. Motivate active youth and junior leaders and support of families, upcoming trainings and resources and lesson studies to help build leadership skills. Some resources that could be provided by volunteer support: trained shooting sports instructors, knowledge about firearm safety and care, know how to serve as the caring adult, and communication skills. Do you want to do that part? I'm trying to.
I was about to say the same thing. So our thing is only done because we may have semi-cheated by using one that I already had. So they didn't get to see it very much because I think we had about 5 minutes to throw it all in. So this is a shooting sports volunteer leader, volunteer position description. And we kind of did it as an overall shooting sports coordinator. So they would be responsible for overall coordination, management of the parish 4-H shooting sports program. Coordinate planning and the delivery of the program, work with the extension agents to schedule trainings, meetings, tours, and service projects, communicate with the extension professionals, members, parents, instructors, and other volunteers, recruit and supervise other instructors and volunteers, and report updates bi-weekly to extension agents, develop resources like funding, equipment, use of facilities, along with the extension agents, promote the program, serve as a liaison on all of our different advisory boards, so shooting sports, 4-H advisory, 4-H foundation, and the extension service advisory. Maintain records on activities and project work and report that also bi-weekly to extension agents. Control inventory, that may not be the correct word, but and maintain the list and do an inventory annually to submit so that we can make sure we have all of that. Actively encourage and support members by working with them individually to review project work and related records, and coordinate. We have a parish ambassador. I could have taken this off right here. We have parish ambassadors, so coordinate the interviews and the projects and the service that they do each year. So benefits would be extended time outdoors with youth and parents, creating safe, responsible outdoors people for the future, and networking with other volunteers and outdoor organizations. Length of service is 1 year, which is renewable, preferably a 3-year commitment would be the best case scenario. The number of hours needed to coordinate the program depends on the size and structure of the program. Location would be in the home parish and serve volunteers, instructors, and youth within the parish area. Seeing things are messed up. Requirements, necessary skills, be at least 21, have the ability to work with adults and delegate responsibility, have a commitment to an interest in the development of youth and shooting sports, be certified through the state 4-H shooting sports program and recertified as needed. Previous leadership is desirable. Possess organizational management, communication, public relations, and marketing skills. This is an unsalaried volunteer position, and their supervising professional would be the parish extension agent or agents. And then you would update the contact information depending on what parish you're using it for. And that's our whole list.
Awesome. Great. Well, that's wonderful. It seems like y'all had accomplished a lot. And if you don't mind, you can share that with me and we can share that position, I guess, after recapping the call, because I think a lot of people had identified that as an area of need as well. Charles, do you want to go next, or Kayla? And do y'all want me to share a screen, or do you want to share a screen?
Ashley is going to be our spokesperson for our group. Ashley, are you good? I emailed it to you.
I can try and pull it up. Let me see. I might have too many windows open.
And while they're pulling that up, we talked about a volunteer, but no one really came, I guess, identified themselves. If someone from our group would be ready, and I can either pull it up, or Megan, just tell me which I would prefer when we get to our other room to share our screen. If there's a volunteer, you can type it in the chat and I can pull it up on my screen and share once Kayla's group finishes.
Megan, it might be just faster if you just pulled it up.
Yeah, what were you guys using?
She doesn't have it.
Oh, okay. She was sharing the doc. Okay.
Okay, let me try again.
There you go, Ash.
Perfect.
Oh, there you go. Thanks. Okay. So, some of our dreams, goals were identify a shooting sports coordinator, have enough adults and counselors to be able to conduct the 4-H traveling camp this summer, and volunteers to assist with sensory garden activities, and livestock volunteers for the well-being of the program. Problems and challenges with COVID restrictions. Transportation of youth is restricted. Challenge having a shooting sports coordinator that communicates. Livestock volunteers that communicate. Facility limitations within the parishes. Livestock volunteers only willing to help with whatever their child participates in, and problems with having club meetings in schools currently. What are you currently doing in your 4-H program that you would like to continue, increase, expand? Volunteer ran shooting sports program, more participation in junior leader clubs, increase volunteers assisting with district livestock show and premier exhibitor contests, more volunteer coaches, especially those that have knowledge in the content area. What is one area of your 4-H program that is underutilized, understaffed, or seem constantly overloaded? Underutilized are junior leader club participation and community involvement. Understaffed would be livestock and shooting sports, and maintaining program seems to be overloaded. What specific skills and resources does your 4-H program need to fulfill your dream and expand? Shooting sports coach, someone that has time and is good at communication and has the best interest of the program in mind. Sensory garden volunteers need to have background in working with special needs youth, and finding the right volunteer that qualifies for the volunteer description. Or go back up, Kayla. So, or it meets the current challenges for questions 2 and 4. So role descriptions having meetings and making your expectations clear, making sure to have meetings throughout to enhance communication efforts, and expect limitations and plan for these. Which needs and desired skills, resources could be provided by volunteer support? Trainings, role descriptions, communicate. Cluster needs into similar groups and identify a single volunteer. We did shooting sports coordinator as well. And it's pretty similar to Megan and them's group. Responsibilities: help the members and parents gain information, communicate all shooting sports related information, attend at least, we didn't put a certain number of practices because it would depend on the parish, keep records, serve as a point of contact for discipline coaches. The benefits: the opportunity to work with youth and provide positive support and growth, develop lifelong friendships, and develop communication and leadership skills specifically related to outdoor skills. Time commitment is seasonal and varies depending on the number of participants and the program. Location, we just put shooting range because everybody has to shoot at some kind of range. Requirements is they have to enroll as a 4-H volunteer. They have to do the required screenings, participate in online monthly planning calls with 4-H agent, and complete the Louisiana Shooting Sports Coordinator training. It is an unsalaried position. Supervisors would be the parish agent, and a mentor could possibly be a past coordinator. And for more information, you contact your local 4-H agent.
Great. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Last group. Charles, is that you? I can share it if you want me to, Charles. Just let me know. And your mic is muted.
I said I was trying to share it on my screen. It's not on my current screen. Then you may be okay. Is anyone from our group willing to share? Okay, I mean, if not, I'll run through this quickly. So a couple of things. What are some of your dreams? Realize we talked about shooting sports as well. Needing more coaches to volunteer and assist other coaches. Need extra help. Need commitment for additional volunteers in multiple disciplines based on how your program is set up. What are some of the problems or challenges? The main issue that was discussed is losing 4-H school club leaders, working with administration and principals, trying to rebuild, recreate new clubs for the fall, helping them recruit either former 4-H club members that are now teachers and/or helping get parents to assist with club duties at the school. Whatever we can do to facilitate those clubs from being developed for the fall. What are you're currently doing in your 4-H program that way you would continue, increase, or expand? Couple of ideas about recognition of volunteers. Really like the way that is going and recruit specific needs for a specific job, such as fishing section at Achievement Day, giving them their duties in advance so the volunteer knows exactly what they're going to do. It takes up, it helps reduce more stress and confusion in the end. Really works well in the past. We talked about ways of recognizing volunteers and knowing your volunteers. If you know them, then you know their preferred method of being recognized, because some prefer public, some prefer private. Having a variety of ways helps everyone. Pam mentioned she had a variety of ways to recognize volunteers, kind of themed on a monthly basis. She was willing to share that. Having a great connection with volunteers, having an open door, always being in contact with them, whatever their preferred method of communication was. Continue making the connection with people in your community you come in contact with, always using 4-H as a way to recruit, but also as an icebreaker that we're always looking for more volunteers. If someone was a member when they were in 4-H, what was their preferred area of the program? And then going on to other underutilized, staffed. Everyone feels like they are a little overloaded at this point, both staff and our volunteers and teachers. Our volunteers feel the same way. We all do get a peace of mind and a sense of gratitude and giving back to others or generosity. So it does make us feel better. So if we can just carve out a little of our time to give back. What needs or desires, skills, or resources could be provided for volunteer support? We were just starting here, but an effective leader is one that can delegate tasks, that is approachable, someone that wants to have fun with our youth, in an inviting and a safe environment. And then that's where we kind of stopped. We didn't get any further.
I appreciate lots of great thoughts, and so that getting together and just identifying needs that exist, and then ways that we, have been able to grow our programs. I think that's critical and important. And then, I didn't expect that every group was going to be able to complete all the activity, but glad we did have 2 groups that did. No worries. So these files are going to be accessible to everyone. So within the breakout room activity guide, you can use this in your parish program if you want, to help identify needs and then generate those position descriptions. But there's also those PDF files that have, 30 plus different sample volunteer position descriptions that you can look through, click through, and as you saw one group do, borrow material that already exists. So feel free to do that. I appreciate you participating in this activity. I hope you found it useful. The next thing that we are going to do is we're going to have a wonderful weekend because I'm sure everybody deserves it. No, but before you do that, please do the reflection when you have some time. You can do the screenshot of the QR code if you want and go ahead and complete that reflection activity as well as the evaluation. I will share this link out in the chat in just a second. And then also, I just wanted to thank, Pam and Megan and Kayla and Charles for assisting today. They did an excellent job. And so if you could, everybody could give them a virtual, round of applause for their help. I know that I certainly appreciate it. And I think that y'all had some great discussions in the rooms as well because of their leadership. So thank y'all so much. And then if you have any volunteer specific questions and need to jump on the virtual office hours, that link you do have that I've sent previously, just jump on there and I'll be glad to help. You'll have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
Thank you. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks.